Welcome to the graphical explanation of how time alterations work in the Back to the Future movie. This is the second part of the video, and the most intricate of the trilogy. If you missed the first part, you'll probably won't understand all the explanations, so please watch part 1 before proceeding. The link is in the description. Here you can see the timelines we already examined in the first part. We start from when Doc is back from 2015, where he stayed for a while. He converted the DeLorean, Mount Mr. Fusion as alternative fuel, and went to a rejuvenation clinic. He also saw Marty's future family life in different days, so I guess he spent several days in 2015. He made several minor time alterations too during these time travels, producing several unimportant timelines we won't consider. Doc arrives and takes Marty and Jennifer to 2015, saying something about the future of their kids. The group leaves 1985 and will meet theirself old. But since this is their original time period where they should live, they make an alteration of the future, the shockwave that starts, consider them no longer existing in time. When Einstein made its trip into the future in the first movie, we did not see two Einsteins, but there is an explanation. Let's stop for a moment and make a theoretical calculation with the help of what happened in the first movie with Marty. The shockwave starts when he saves George in the morning of November 5th, and he starts to disappear during the dance on the night of November 12th when the shockwave hit his birthdate, June 6, 1968. This means that in about 7.5 days, the shockwave has traveled 4,596 days. If we convert in minutes, we can round the result and declare that the speed of the shockwave should be about 600 minutes per real minute. This means that when Einstein arrives 1 minute after its departure, the shockwave has already made it disappear from existence for the next 10 hours of the original timeline. So when he arrives at 1:21 a.m., there won't be two Einsteins. In the same way, the group leaves on October 26, 1985, arrives immediately in October 21, 2015. To reach that date, which is 10,952 days after the starting point in 1985, the shockwaves should take about 18 days. The old Marty and Jennifer should theoretically disappear on November 8, 2015, which, as we'll see, it will never happen since they will be back in 1985 at the end of the third movie, breaking the paradox. So when they arrive in 2015, they are in the new timeline, F, but the changes the event created in 1985 have not arrived yet to 2015. That's because they are the time travelers far from their right year, who made an alteration. The shockwave is always spreading constantly from or against them depending if they are in the past or the future. So as we said before, now actually there are two Jennifers and two Martys. Doc is presumably dead since he would have been 100 years old. When they arrive, they alterate the future, creating a new timeline, G. On timeline, G, now there are two shockwaves going on, the one started on 2015 and the one started on 1985. The shockwave starts from October 21, 2015 and does not change anything prior to that date. Doc and Marty start visiting the future while Jennifer is sleeping in an alley. Marty has to prevent his son from being sentenced to prison. Doc elaborates a plan, but things don't go well when Marty Jr. unexpectedly appears. Luckily, Marty intervenes, and after a spectacular pursuit in hoverboards, Griff is arrested. Since Marty McFly Jr. won't go to prison, the future is changed. This event creates a new timeline, H. The shockwave starts after about 1 minute. Biff gets arrested. While Marty rejoins Doc, the shockwaves has already reached the next day. The effect can be seen in the newspaper that is changing right in Doc's hands. Jennifer sees old Jennifer and both faints. This would create another unimportant timeline we won't consider. Something far more important is happening. Old Biff understands Doc has built a time machine. He takes the almanac from the trash, and while Doc and Marty have gone rescuing Jennifer, he steals the DeLorean. Biff goes back to 1955 to give young Biff the almanac. Obviously, this event creates a new timeline, I. A really important shockwave starts spreading from that point. When his mission is complete, Biff goes back to 2015. As we have seen in part 1 of the video, The changes that come from different times takes about 1 minute, maybe depending how long the shockwave has traveled, to completely transform actual reality. So when Biff arrives in 2015, the shockwave from 1955 has arrived immediately but has not changed anything yet. Biff gets out of the car and starts feeling sick. Doc, Marty and Jennifer go back to 1985 right before the shockwave applies. We can clearly see the right moment in a deleted scene in which old Biff disappears from existence. This is because, according to an interview of Bob Gale, Biff has been shot in 1996 by Lorraine. Marty, Doc and Jennifer go back to 1985 but in timeline, unconscious of the changes that Biff made in 1955. Hill Valley is totally different since Biff is the richest man by winning lots of money reading the results of sport events on the almanac. We find out that Marty, A, is in a boarding school in Switzerland and Doc, A, has been interned and declared insane. Since the shockwave that old Biff created in 1955 has already reached 1985, if Doc, A, has not already built the DeLorean and Marty, A, hasn't traveled back to 1955, as time travelers Doc and Marty should disappear from the 1985 of this timeline. We can try to find an hidden explanation to this. If you pay attention, the newspaper in which we see Doc, A, interned is from 1983. In a deleted scene of the first movie we see that Doc has already tried to corrupt a policeman. We may suppose he somehow did it again and could have been free for the last years building the time machine. We also hear that Biff, A, says that Marty, A, has already been kicked out of boarding school several times. We may suppose that he did it again and has rejoined Doc, A, repeating what happened in the original 1985, always due to time self-preservation instinct. While in 1985 Marty creates multiple changes, we will include all of them to timeline J. Doc and Marty leave Jennifer asleep in front of his house, while Marty discovers all about Biff, his new wife, Lorraine, and about the death of his father. With the help of Doc, Marty discovers that Biff gained all the money with the almanac. With a little trick, he also discovers from Biff that someone gave him the almanac on November 12, 1955, so he travels back to 1955 with Doc to avoid this event. When they arrive to 1955, they create another timeline, K, while seeking old Biff. The shockwave starts but it won't create important changes, so we won't consider it. Finally, Marty sees the scene when old Biff gives young Biff the almanac. Old Biff goes back to 2015 and Marty tries to steal the almanac from young Biff. After several ups and downs, Marty is able to grab the almanac and set it on fire. This event creates another timeline, L, but mostly important cancels the events created on timeline I, in 1955 by old Biff. Once again, time self-preservation instinct rebuilds what has been changed. Like in the first movie, when something is being fixed from another timeline, the changes apply almost immediately. We can see it from the newspapers and matches taken in 1985. Suddenly something unexpected happens. While the DeLorean driven by Doc is flying over Marty, it is hit by a lightning. This overcharge throws unintentionally Doc in 1885, leaving Marty alone in 1955. This event creates another timeline, M. As we said before, in place of Doc, the shockwave from 1885 is expanding slowly because he is actually the time traveler who created the event. Marty instead sees all the changes that come from that event after only a few minutes. This is confirmed by the guy from Western Union who arrives to give Marty an envelope by Doc from 1885. But we will see what happens in the third part of the video.